Part 291. Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shu. Chapter 2901. Master Wuji, that kid must have been scared out of his wits. Look at him like that, he doesn't dare to say a word. Lord Wuji is really so powerful. I'm here to wish the Wuji people a great success. Lord Wuji. Zujdun, the third-class saint of the Light Alliance Temple in the Qingtian Sanctuary, was flattering, and the flattery on his face became more and more. While talking at the moment, he nodded and bowed quickly. Anyway, he was expressing his desire to curry favor. Wuji, the leader of the Man in Black, sneered, and didn't pay much attention to the Zuj sage at all. For him, there was no possibility of any accidents in this mission. Just when he was in high spirits, he suddenly frowned. Why does it feel so cold? What's the situation? What the hell? It's all frozen in front. Wuji, the leader of the Man in Black, widened his eyes, and then his face was full of disbelief, which looked too glaring. At the same time, the location is just right. Ling-er. Turn on the special effect of Snow Fairy's God. Fang Fan snorted secretly, his eyes became sharper, and then his expression changed in a very real way. A wave of feelings is directly in place. This looks unique. Fang Fan licked his lips subconsciously, thinking to himself, the sound of breathing gradually became extremely rapid. A wave is in place directly. The mentality also took off in an all-round way. Good master. Xueling nodded resolutely, her eyes became extremely determined at this moment. The Snow Crystal Plain is her hometown, and now these men in black have destroyed her hometown like this. For Xueling, these are enemies, all of them are enemies. We must wipe out all the bastards in front of us. One must not stay frozen thousands of miles. Xueling's eyes became brighter and brighter, and after he muttered to himself, the scene in front of him began to change drastically. The howling north wind instantly froze the surrounding air. Although it was a burst of extreme cold sudden attack, the picture in front of me gradually became fragmented. Immediately, the world in front of me fell into a piece of ice at a speed visible to the naked eye. Those men in black who galloped over to prepare to attack were instantly frozen in this ice and snow world. Divine Position Special Effect 1, frozen thousands of miles can use the spirit of snowflakes to completely freeze, and can freeze thousands of miles unconditionally for 10 seconds. Cooldown period is 1 month. Frozen 1,000 miles is the special effect of the 7th class god Snow Fairy, so terrifying. Kill. At this moment. Do what you can. Kill. Don't hold back. Only 10 seconds. Fang Fan let out a roar, directly waking up the stunned people, followed by Fang Fan's speed getting faster and faster, as if he wanted to crush everything in front of him. Inexplicably, it gives people a sense of supreme shock in the mind. Sweeping around Fang Fan are 10 legions, 6 heroes, and 4 divine pets. Their speed is getting faster and faster. Immediately afterwards, he began to slash and kill the man in black. The sharpshooters of the Gothic Sanctuary Sharpshooters Corps started shooting frantically, time after time. Facing the crowd of men in black who are densely approaching in front of them, there is no need to aim at all, and a random bullet can explode several heads. The heavy machine artillery of the Low Heavy Machine Artillery Corps carried out a full-scale bombardment with heavy machine guns. Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shu. Chapter 2902. Boom. Rumbling. One after another, the sound of bombing swept over, inexplicably giving people a sense of mental oppression. At this moment, he subconsciously took a breath, his facial expression was unpredictable, and he was stunned. So scary. Terrified. In vain. The Blood Shura Legion directly started to unite the Shuras, and then held the Shura knife, slashing wildly. The dark magic of the hero Vega directly started to be cast again and again. Galen's big sword was placed directly on his waist, and then he sprinted forward crazily, rolling in blood like a meat grinder. Kyle's angel sword. Frozen 1,000 miles. It can only last for 10 seconds. But 10 seconds is enough. Enough for Fang Fan to swing the Heaven Zhan sword hundreds of times. Once, a head fell. One after another. Continuous. Instant. Continue instant. Murong Yu was the first to find the two men in black at the low-level Holy Venerable Realm, and then each took 2 seconds to chop off their heads. The threat of the two low-level saints was directly eliminated. Immediately afterwards, Murong Yu focused his attention on the leader of the man in black again. The cultivation of the leader of the man in black has been revealed at this moment. Absolute Supreme Saint Realm. Murong Yu tried his best to swing the long sword in his hand to slash. He slashed hundreds of swords, but only caused a little skin trauma to the leader of the man in black. Murong Yu wanted to continue hacking and killing in all directions, but it was too late. The 10 seconds of frozen 1,000 miles have come. At this moment, it inexplicably gives people a sense of infinite crushing in consciousness. The mentality directly followed the collapse. What else can I say at this moment? I can only move my lips. Retreat. Quick retreat. Don't linger. Fang Fan casually chopped off the head of a man in black at the 6-star sanctuary level again, and immediately gave orders. Don't need to say much about the others, the posture has been fully demonstrated at this moment. How can one be so calm? After Fang Fan and others evacuated, the ice and snow world in front of them melted. Although these people were all frozen for 10 seconds just now, their brains and eyes were still alive, that is to say, they were watching everything just now. Watching my little friend being harvested by my side like this, I feel more or less frightened. About 5,000 men in black, most of them were killed. At this moment, there are only more than 1,000 people left. As for the priests of the Temple of the Light Alliance under the command of Saint Zudge, there used to be more than 100 priests, but now there are only a dozen scattered. But this Zudge sage was lucky enough to save a dog's life. At this moment, his eyes scanned the surrounding area, and he was stunned when he saw the dead bodies all over the ground. The cold sweat on his forehead became more and more intense, his breathing became extremely rapid, and his whole body was in a state of panic. In a state of extreme ignorance, lips are murmured, followed by crazy trembling. The mentality collapsed, completely collapsed. This wave directly followed the calf. And play with the hammer. The cool moonlight directly reflects. 7 out of 10 were harvested. The rest are still alive, more or less injured. Zudge Dun, the third-class saint of the Light Alliance Temple in the Qingtian Sanctuary, glanced at Lord Wuji, who was thinking about him, and when he saw the gaps all over his body, he couldn't help but gasped. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 2903. Good guy, this guy was stabbed at least 300 times. Fortunately, the cultivation base is high enough and the defense is strong enough, otherwise it would be completely cold. At this moment, having his life taken back by him has become the biggest variable in the audience. At this moment, the face of the leader of the man in black, Wuji, looked extremely ugly. Damn stuff. How did it become like this? In vain. The mentality has directly followed the collapse. What else can I say? It's cold, it's really cold now. Gritting his teeth, he couldn't do it anymore, he could only stare blankly at everything around him, and then vomited blood all over. This seat actually capsized in the gutter. Just now, that is the power of the law of God. To be able to generate such a great power in an instant, it's so terrifying. If not, why did it come to this? Damn it! The law of God, if I can learn this law of God, wouldn't I be invincible? Yes, that's right. These in front of me have become my lucky stars. Hey hey hey. This feeling is really good, cool. Cool. Thinking of this, Wuji, the leader of the Man in Black, nodded quickly, looking at Fang Fan and the others with excitement and joking. Seeing the foolish look of the leader of the Man in Black, the Zuch sage at the side felt inexplicably horrified. Is this guy stupid by being stimulated? With so many gaps in your body, how can you still laugh? Who is this person? What's going on in your heart? Don't you have a special hobby in this area? Saint Zuch took a deep breath, then subconsciously swallowed a mouthful of saliva. His facial expression changed very realistically, and the cold sweat on his forehead couldn't help but also increased. Being with this pervert, you should be more careful. What if you fall in love with me, perverted? Saint Zuch thought to himself, then subconsciously stepped back a few steps, and subconsciously turned his eyes around a few times. It's a pity that my strength is too weak. If my cultivation base can be promoted by 1 or 2 levels, I might be able to kill the leader of the Man in Black just now. Now the other men in black are nothing to worry about, but the leader of the Man in Black is still difficult to deal with. Why? Murong Yu sighed softly, then shook his head helplessly. She didn't expect that the leader of the Man in Black was actually in the Supreme Saint realm, and she was only a low-level saint. Although they were both saints, there was still a big gap. With such a disparity in combat power, even if the leader of the Man in Black allowed Murong Yu to slash hundreds of swords at will, there was nothing he could do in the end. It was not easy to cause some skin trauma to the leader of the Man in Black. I don't know what to do next. Always feel very difficult. Looking at the past, the whole person feels scalp numb for no reason. So beautiful that her brains are floating. This has nothing to do with you. Don't think too much, prepare for the next battle. Leave the leader of the Man in Black to me. You lead the others to fight against the surviving men in black, and that Saint Zuch. Fang Fan pondered for a while, and then began to carry out a comprehensive deployment. At this moment, it is only a life and death fight. Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 2904. The big move has been released, and now I can only prepare a big move to pose a threat to the leader of the black-clothed man who is at the top of the Holy Realm. I have no problem dealing with the others, after all, they are all below the Saint Venerable. But the leader of the Man in Black is in the Supreme Saint realm. You can't take risks. The risk is too great. No matter how defiant you are, your cultivation has just been promoted to a 2-star mid to high-end sanctuary realm. This gap is too big. It's too dangerous for you to do this. Let me deal with the leader of the Man in Black, and I will lead him to evacuate in other directions. When the time comes, you take the opportunity to save people, and then leave. Murong Yu squirmed his lips, and while talking, his face became more and more solemn. Needless to say anything else for the time being, this gesture must be revealed accordingly. While speaking, the gleam in the pupils grew more and more, and the sound of breathing became extremely rapid. Needless to say about other things for the time being, this idea has already taken off in an all-round way. It is probably such a very real attitude. I took the opportunity to save someone. Are you going to distract the leader of the Man in Black? You were, in front of a supreme sage. How big is the gap between a low-level sage and a 2-star sanctuary? Actually, they are all the same. The key is how to act at this time. I still have a trump card that I haven't used yet, so you don't have to worry about me. If it really gets to that kind of out-of-control situation, I can at least protect myself. Fang Fan breathed out a foul breath, and while talking, he nodded silently, and the brilliance in his eyes flickered across the board. The mind is gathered here, and the posture and expression have taken off in full swing. It is such an attitude, pure and sincere. Murong, you wanted to say something more, but Fang Fan glanced over, looking extremely determined. If you have something to do, I will follow you everywhere. Murong Yu looked straight at Fang Fan, and then said this, and then focused his eyes on the battlefield in front of him, not daring to slack off in the slightest. The situation at this moment is becoming more and more severe. A little carelessness, directly implicated in it. Stabilization is the necessary choice at the moment. The man in black is getting closer. Fang Fan turned around directly, extremely fast. Wuji, the leader of the man in black, locked onto Fang Fan instantly, and then sprinted over. The end of life ants still want to escape. Die. Wuji, the leader of the man in black, sneered, and the arrogance around him surged crazily, and then the whole person gradually became smug. While talking, the smiles on the corners of his mouth grew more and more, and wherever he looked extraordinarily calm. Casual, indifferent, with a hint of arrogance invisibly. For Wuji, the leader of the man in black, his goal is only Fang Fan. Only by killing Fang Fan can he complete the oracle command of the god of destruction. This is also his only choice at the moment. After completing this task, the great god of destruction will bestow upon him supreme glory. If he fails, he must die without a place to bury him. At this moment, he had no choice. He could only silently choose to accept everything in front of him. Needless to say, everything else, the mind also took off in an all-round way. Fortunately, the prey has been caught. Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 2905. At this moment, you only need to close the net. Master Wuji, I will help you kill this Fang Fan. This Fang Fan is very cunning, if he is not careful, he may escape. Lord Wuji. Zujdun, the third-class saint of the Light Alliance Temple in the Qingtian Sanctuary, is naturally unwilling to give up any chance to flatter. It's just that most of the time when flattering is done on the horse's hoof, I'm still foolish and unaware of it. Get out. This prey belongs to me. Do you dare to snatch it? Wuji, the leader of the man in black, gave a cold shout. His attitude was extremely bad. At least the gesture shown on the surface is quite resentful. It's been like that from beginning to end. A wave of feelings is in place, but it seems quite pure. Lord Wuji, I am going to help you. Master Wuji, you can't say that. I have good intentions, how could you be so? Lord Wuji, Zujdun, are loyal to you, how dare I have two hearts? Master Wuji, my loyalty can be learned from the sun and the moon. Lord Wuji. Zujdun, the third-rank saint of the Light Alliance Temple in the Sky Sanctuary, took a deep breath, and then hurriedly explained from the side. This wave directly frightened him into a daze. Master Wuji is angry. How big of a deal is this? His mentality collapsed in an instant, and his brain was buzzing. If the slightest accident happened to Mr. Wuji, it would be too late to rescue him. You are too noisy. I let you go. A mere ant in the two-star sanctuary, this seat still needs you to help me. If you dare to block the path of the seat again, don't blame the seat for being ruthless. Wuji, the leader of the man in black, glared fiercely at Zujdun, the third-class saint of the Light Alliance Temple in the Qingtian Sanctuary, and the displeasure on his face grew more and more. What a thing! How dare you follow suit here? Zujdun, the third-class saint of the Light Alliance Temple in the Sky Sanctuary, was speechless. My heart of sincerity was so ruined by you. Hot face on your cold ass. Do you really think labor and management want to curry favor with you? If it weren't for coveting the skills in you that would allow the saint to advance to the realm of sainthood, who the hell would be willing to serve you? Zujdun, the third-rank saint of the Light Alliance Temple in Qingtian Sanctuary, snorted coldly in his heart, and naturally felt particularly upset in his heart, but at this time, he could only hold back silently. This gap in status has been established from the very beginning, so what can we do now? There is still a gap in status, and at this moment, I can only grit my teeth and endure it. In vain, helpless, and powerless. Wuji, the leader of the man in black who had repelled Zujdun, once again focused his gaze on Fang Fan, and then flew over at an even faster speed. He only needs to get closer, and he can easily reach out, and then pinch the guy in front of him to death. No need to fight hard, just use 2 fingers. Everyone's eyes were focused on this, and the worry on everyone's faces was beyond words. Fang Fan boy, quickly hide in. I go. Don't take any chances. Isn't your small world just for this time? Hide in there and let him have nowhere to go. Not far away, Bai Piao trembled his lips, roaring excitedly. It's time like this, it's too dangerous. If you are not careful, you may follow Liang Bo directly. At this moment, he is still proud of the hammer, saving his life is the most important thing. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Xu Yu. Chapter 2906. Bai Piao didn't worry much about Fang Fan at first, because he knew that there was a small world of Shushan Pavilion, and at the last moment, Fang Fan could still hide in it. But at this moment, Wuji, the leader of the man in black, is getting closer and closer to Fang Fan, but Fang Fan has no actions or signs in this regard at all. If the leader of the man in black really got close, Fang Fan would most likely be caught before he could escape. The situation is very dangerous. It should come. It's still here. Fang Fan exhaled a turbid breath, and his eyes flickered with a different kind of brilliance. Holy Venerable Heavenly Demon Summoning Card. Activate. Fang Fan snorted secretly, and then a purple-black card appeared in his hand, followed by a complete change in the picture in front of him. The purple-black card was instantly shrouded in a dense black fog, followed by the card being instantly destroyed. The energy overflowing from the card gathers here, and then it gallops all over the place. In the thick black fog, a giant tens of feet tall gradually appeared. Holy Venerable Heavenly Demon Summoning Card. Use this card to directly summon a Supreme Holy Venerable Heavenly Demon, which lasts for 3 minutes. Note, the summoned Heavenly Demon is very likely to lose control, and only those with high spiritual power can't do it control. Monthly Drawing Card Income. Fang Fan got this Saint-level Heavenly Demon Summoning Card a long time ago, and it was obtained in the monthly card draw. The so-called daily card draw and monthly card draw are mainly one of the special effects for female slaves. After accepting Xiao Liulai as a female slave at that time, the special effect of the female slave position was activated. To put it simply, Fang Fan can draw a card that is comparable to his cultivation level every day, and once a month, he can draw a card that is 1 level higher than himself. For example, Fang Fan is in the Sanctuary realm now, so the daily card draw is a Sanctuary level card, which may be a Sanctuary level food card, healing card, or a Sanctuary level Legion card, character summoning card, and so on. All to chance. As for the monthly card draw, for Fang Fan at this moment, he can get a holy card. This Holy Venerable Demon Summoning Card was obtained through this channel. It has always been held in Fang Fan's hands as his trump card. Other than that, it was mainly determined by the nature of this saint-level demon summoning card itself. After all, according to the notes, there is a high probability that the demon will lose control this day. If Fang Fan's mental power is not enough to control it, it is very likely that he will devour the master. So if it wasn't for an emergency, Fang Fan would never use it. As for this moment, it doesn't matter that much. Let it all follow the full gallop. Fang Fan squinted his eyes, thinking to himself, his facial expression was unpredictable. With the use of the Saint-level Heavenly Demon summoning card, the peak Saint level, that is, the Heavenly Demon of the Supreme Saint level descended from the sky. The majestic figure tens of feet high is placed there, and there is a strong sense of shock. Moreover, he also has a powerful bloodline of the Heavenly Demon, which is naturally not comparable to that of ordinary cultivators of the Supreme Saint realm. However, this card also has its flaws, that is, the summoned Heavenly Demon can only exist for 3 minutes. In other words, the battle must be resolved within 3 minutes. Fang Fan's eyes swept across the audience, and immediately started a brainstorming session. The leader of the black-clothed man in the Supreme Saint realm must be killed as quickly as possible. Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 2907. At this moment, there must be no slack in the slightest. Fang Fan then let out a foul breath, thinking to himself, his eyes flickered with brilliance. The appearance of the Heavenly Demon in the Absolute Saint Venerable realm naturally caused the surrounding situation to suddenly change. G. This Demon Lord can still come here. You guys smell really bad. Kill them all. The gigantic pupils of the tens of feet tall giant sky demon scanned the surroundings, and then moved up and down in excitement and awe. The radiance in the eyes grew more and more, and the facial expressions were unpredictable. This kind of idea is fully gathered in the depths of my heart. This wave of thinking is in place, and the eyes are extremely clear. Interesting, really interesting. At a glance, the whole person is fluttering. As for the other ones, naturally there is no need to say more, just keep it steady in your heart, and the rest don't need to pay attention at all. The giant celestial demon swung its thick arms, and then a few unlucky men in black around were shot to death. It is conceivable how powerful the giant heavenly demon in the Supreme Saint realm is. What the hell? Heavenly demon. Heavenly demon bloodline. This ghost, wasn't it wiped out a long time ago? Wuji, the leader of the man in black, widened his eyes, also looking very surprised. At this moment, the sharp eyes scanned the surroundings, and the sound of breathing couldn't help but become rapid, and the gestures of gnashing teeth gathered here, and the changes in facial expressions were particularly real. What the hell? How dare you call this demon master a ghost? Damn it! How dare you be so disrespectful to this demon lord? Death. Must die. The eyes of the giant demon instantly locked onto the leader of the man in black, and then galloped straight over. Wuji, the leader of the man in black, gradually became extremely ugly. I thought it was a surefire victory, but who knew there would be such a change in the end? This time the situation has changed so far, I feel inexplicably panicked. The thoughts in my heart are gathered here, and the posture of gnashing my teeth is also vividly displayed. Clang. Boom. The giant demon and the leader of the man in black collided violently, and the body of the giant demon stopped in place. As for the leader of the man in black at the peak of the holy state, he suddenly retreated hundreds of meters. The gap has been revealed accordingly. So strong. Who is your excellency, and why did you help that kid? I was ordered by the god of destruction to kill this kid, and I hope your excellency will not block the way here. After all, if the god of destruction gets angry, we won't be able to bear it all. The leader of the man in black saw that he couldn't defeat the giant demon, and then planned to save the country. God of destruction. Roar. This demon lord obeys his majesty the demon god. What is a mere god of destruction? Roll. As for that kid. Gee. It seems that he summoned me. In order to repay this kid, then, Eat him. The giant celestial demon licked his lips, then stared directly at Fang Fan, and then strode forward and wanted to run over to kill Fang Fan. It's really unreliable. It's just coming out and I'm about to start killing the master. Mind control. Fang Fan let out a roar, then clenched his hands into fists, fixed his gaze on the giant demon, his breathing became extremely rapid. Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 2908. Boom. The giant heavenly demon only felt a roar in his head, and then his limbs began to feel a little out of control. Mind control works initially. Fang Fan let out a sigh of relief, as long as it works. From Fang Fan's point of view, he was really afraid that this wave would have no effect. If this wave doesn't work, it's really over. Fortunately, all of this is still within the controllable range. Fang Fan narrowed his eyes, thinking to himself, then licked his lips, and his thoughts gradually lifted into the air. This time the thoughts are gathered here, and the changes in facial expressions are especially real. The huge body of the giant demon began to slowly turn backwards, and his eyes gradually became hollow. Then under Fang Fan's control, he began to attack the leader of the man in black. Boy! I really underestimated you, you can actually control this heavenly demon in the supreme holy realm. Wuji, the leader of the man in black, wriggled his lips, and his face couldn't help changing completely. Then he stared at Fang Fan's position, and strode towards him with great strides. I must kill you. Only by killing you can the mission be completed. Only by killing you can this damn demon lose control. The leader of the man in black, Wuji, was getting faster and faster, and then he gave up fighting against the giant demon, and killed Fang Fan directly. His goal is very clear, that is to kill Fang Fan. In order to achieve the goal, do whatever it takes. I've done my best at the moment. The roar of death followed, inexplicably giving people a sense of infinite crushing in the mind. Back for help. Resistance. Fang Fan snorted secretly, and began to control the giant demon again. The body of the giant demon collided with the leader of the man in black again. Not surprisingly, the leader of the man in black was defeated again. At this moment, he was going back and forth between being defeated and being defeated. Fang Fan let out a foul breath, thinking to himself, and then licked his lips. Although the situation is okay at the moment, Fang Fan doesn't feel excited at all, but is full of anxiety. It's been a minute. The time to summon this heavenly demon of the absolute saint venerable realm can only last for 3 minutes. If it exceeds these 3 minutes, problems will follow. The situation has collapsed. There are also big problems in the situation. Fang Fan licked his lips, thinking to himself, his eyes flickered with a different kind of brilliance. This time the thoughts gathered here, and all kinds of mentality took off in an all-round way. At this moment, I can still talk about a hammer. My mentality collapsed, and everything went completely cold. It was probably such a cool gesture. Pure and true. Roar. Gee. Who is controlling this demon master? Boy. You are bold. The giant demon suddenly lost control. How seemingly endless reign. It ended up being like this. Glancing at the past, the shock in my heart couldn't help but become stronger. At this moment, he looked blankly at all this in front of him, and then moved his lips, showing a bright face of astonishment. Ah! My head! Fang Fan let out a roar, and couldn't help but grab his head with both hands, feeling as if his brain was about to explode. Immediately, blood began to overflow from the mouth, eyes, and various parts of the body. The intense pain was about to crush Fang Fan into pieces. Although Fang Fan's mental strength is pretty good, it is still far from being able to control a supreme saint at will. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 2909. At this moment, it is obviously being forcibly backlashed. Fang Fan wriggled his lips, thinking to himself, the gesture of gnashing his teeth was vividly displayed. This time, the facial expression also changed completely. There was also an inexplicable pain in my heart. The heart-piercing pain almost made Fang Fan faint. Boy Fang Fan! Bai Piao galloped over and placed it in front of Fang Fan abruptly, resisting a counter-attack from the giant sky demon. Boom! Bai Piao's body fell directly for 100 miles, and then he couldn't see it. Cough! Cough cough cough! Fang Fan directly spat out a mouthful of reverse blood, and then held the blood stain in his hand. His eyes gradually became blurred. Stop! Don't fall asleep! Fang Fan gritted his teeth and used a healing card for himself, which barely stopped his injury. At the same time, Fang Fan chose to forcibly control the giant demon again. If you are not under my control, just destroy it. Fang Fan murmured to himself, his eyes filled with blood. Rage God's finger! Fang Fan snorted secretly, his body surged with divine power. Immediately afterwards, a giant finger descended directly from the sky, and then directly pressed on the giant demon. Ah! Ah! What the hell? Don't! Painful mourning came out of the mouth of this giant celestial demon. Gradually, the resistance of this giant celestial demon to Fang Fan became weaker and weaker. Taking advantage of this opportunity, Fang Fan directly carried out a wave of reverse control on it. After full control, this wave immediately followed and stabilized. The situation is fully under control. As for the others, just stick to it. Cool moonlight, after all, there is still a way to show it. During this period of time, Wuji, the leader of the Man in Black, has been making soy sauce. He wanted to take the opportunity to launch a surprise attack several times, but every time he was intercepted by the giant demon. He watched helplessly as the giant demon tossed and turned, and then attacked him again. At this moment, Fang Fan's blood was seeping out all over his body, which was obviously the result of the high load release of mental power. As expected of an existence that was ordered to be killed by the god of destruction, it really is extraordinary. But even if you can temporarily control this demon, so what? Sooner or later this will all be ruined. By then, all of this will be over. The end is the final choice. When you can't hold on anymore, your mental strength will collapse by itself. At that time, even if I don't do anything, you won't be able to survive. And in this short period of time, this heavenly demon can't kill me at all, at most it can only cause some trauma to me. I want to see who can beat who. Wuji, the leader of the Man in Black, gritted his teeth loudly. As he was talking, the sneer on his face grew more and more. Encountered this accident, he could only choose to wait. At the same time, he glanced around, and found that the men in black under his command were basically killed. After all, on the other side of the battlefield, Murong Yu, who is a low-level saint, has been fighting with Overload. And the original 2 low-level saints among the men in black were killed by Murong Yu in advance at the time of Frozen 1000 Miles. At this moment, except for the leader of the black-clothed man in the Supreme Holy State, Murong Yu is in full control of the field. Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 2910. So the most important thing right now is to deal with the leader of the Man in Black. If it can be killed, the danger will naturally be eliminated by itself. If not, the situation will only become more complicated. At this moment, the leader of the Man in Black does not fight directly with the giant demon, but adopts a dogfighting method, whether it is a wave of fighting, and chooses to retreat from time to time. At this moment, it is like a slippery snake, flowing around. At this time, his vigilance is almost restrained. Now is the perfect time. Fang Fan let out a foul breath, thinking to himself. The sound of his breathing became rapid, his facial expression also changed completely at this moment, and his eyes gradually became extremely determined. What should come, will always come. Let all this follow and explode in full swing. Fang Fan clenched his fists with both hands, and the sneer on his face became more and more, and the changes in his facial expressions were very real. Na Yan. It's your turn to play. Fang Fan gave a cold shout, and immediately the momentum around him gathered in full force. Na Yan, who was not far away, ran over silently, and immediately began to display his magic skills. Na Yan is the owner of the 7th class God-level TNG Star Disciple who was granted by Fang Fan before. Its magical skill Battle Control has saved Fang Fan from danger several times. Battle Control, activate the power of heavenly secrets, double the combat power of the designated target, and reduce the combat power of another designated target by half. The duration is 10 minutes, and the cooldown period is 3 days. Boom. Rumbling. There was a sudden burst of thunder in the air, inexplicably giving people a sense of depression deep in their hearts. At this moment, their eyes subconsciously scanned the surroundings, and the expression of horror was beyond words. The mentality is more or less broken. In general, it is probably such a pure mentality and consciousness. Let it all flow in full swing. What should come, will always come. Control the battle. Na Yan snorted secretly, without the slightest hesitation, he directly launched his own powerful means. Immediately afterwards, the energy of the magical skill Battle Control covered the giant sky demon and the leader of the Man in Black, Wuji. In an instant, the combat power of the giant demon doubled directly. And Wuji, the leader of the Man in Black, has reduced his combat power by half. Back and forth again and again, but it is a fourfold disparity in combat power. Originally, the leader of the Man in Black was far inferior to the combat power of the giant sky demon, but now the gap is even more widened. The several times difference in combat power allowed the giant demon to completely crush the leader of the Man in Black. Although the giant demon was stronger than the leader of the Man in Black before, there is a limit. Both of them were originally Supreme Saints. Twice as strong. But at this moment, it's not just as simple as doubling. At the moment it is several times. The huge disparity in combat power is displayed, giving people a direct sense of mental oppression. The formation has been set up at this moment, and the sound of gasping for air can't help but become extremely urgent. Na Yan's eyes focused on this, and then he licked his lips again, and the blush on his face also increased. The mentality is now taking off in an all-round way. Control war can only last for 10 minutes. But right now, the summoned giant sky demon can only continue to exist for less than 2 minutes. Whether it is life or death depends on the final battle.